Hey, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Illinois Freedom Caucus Tuesday night town hall and round table live with Dan Calkins and Chris Miller. And guys, the polls should be closed most everywhere. Hopefully that's the case, right? 7 o'clock, they're supposed to be closed.
Yes.
And Chicago will get a new mayor. Not sure which one. Many other places may get new mayors, new school board members, the like. Yeah. And so, hey guys, as we get rolling here, on Sunday night when we do our little deal, we talk about how the Sunday Night Live that we do is a safer, smarter alternative to what's out there. And I wasn't even paying attention, but all I'm going to say is Country Music Awards. I don't know if you guys heard that, but this is a place you want to be on Sunday night and not regular network TV or the rest of that. So anyhow, Chris, what's going on? Welcome everybody as the leader of the Freedom Caucus.
Oh, it's great to be here, and thank you everybody for joining in this evening. I've had quite a day. I've delivered a couple of I've been involved in free market capitalism today. I delivered a couple of Angus over to Stronghurst, and we just got back and slid in here, so I'm still kind of vibrating from riding in the truck all day. But hey, it's great to be here to talk about things that are important to you, because we are continually striving to represent the voiceless people that have no voice and to give you a voice in Springfield.
Exactly. And Dan, I don't know if you caught this in Decatur, but I seen that unlike the CCP, the Central Illinois Weather Service launched an actual weather balloon this afternoon. Trying to collect some weather data ahead of this storm that's trying to move in. So
I hope it's not floating over my house. I don't know. Collecting intel here on me.
So I thought that was funny. They actually had a video of them showing them launching this thing, and actually had the data that was coming back into the National Weather Service about what the storm was looking like. So I just thought that was kind of humorous. But
that's
anyhow,
good.
What else is going on in Decatur, Macon County, Dan, the 88th?
We are working here. Had a couple of DCFS calls today. We've had some constituent calls. Helped the fella get his concealed carry. He'd had an order of protection against him that was dropped. It was not enforced, but he couldn't get his got his point card, but he couldn't get his concealed carry card. So we got that solved today. Just good constituent services going on here. So looking forward to it. Well, 80 degrees in Decatur, by the way, today.
Really nice.
Yeah.
See you again, Chris.
And this afternoon.
Yeah, exactly. Well, guys, this is the place that you need to come to find truth, logic, and common sense. And hopefully you'll enjoy our content. And as always, we really would appreciate that you'd like, share, and follow and subscribe to our content. Help us overcome the big tech overlords and their algorithmic gods. And so
you got through that pretty well this evening. Yeah, it's a tongue twister.
It is. Yeah. It is a tongue twister, and it's kind of fun to say if I can get it all spewed out there. But anyhow.
Need to get you a cue card. Hold that up.
Yeah, that's what I need. That's what I need. So hey, guys, we've been a couple weeks here trying to get back to the part 2 of our Freedom Caucus legislative agenda, and so we've got a whole list of bills here that we're trying to talk about as we are in Springfield and as we're out doing town halls and things. So with that, unless you guys have anything else, let's get into it and kind of give folks a flavor of part 2 of our legislative agenda. And boy, this it couldn't be more important right now, the fight to preserve energy. Chris, you've got a bill. Looks like Niemerg's got a bill. Chris, what does your bill do there?
Well, my bill was just trying to shove it back at the Democrats for destroying the landscape down here. This was a bill to line Lake Michigan from Wisconsin to Indiana with windmills, so that the good citizens in Cook County along Lakeshore Drive could enjoy what we have to look at every day also. But it was more of a, not really a serious thing, but just to make them aware of what we have to deal with on a daily basis down here. But I mean, the biggest thing that we need to remind the public of is this is a sham issue. This is a complete hoax, and it will end up destroying the economy in Illinois as well as America if the adults in the room don't stand up and begin to push back. You know, we have the cleanest air and the cleanest water in the world. We do a great job with our environment. And, you know, it's just the other day I went, run for your life. We just emitted some CO2. That, I mean, most of these people don't even know what CO2 is. We exhale CO2. And, you know, the ironic thing is that unless they quit teaching earth science in the government indoctrination centers, you know, green leafy plants absorb carbon dioxide and produce oxygen. We have millions of acres of air filters all across the fruited plain. And, you know, the long and short of it is in sound science, your observation dictates your conclusion.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that I've been watching climate crisis after climate crisis over the past 60 years, and the common thread that leads global cooling, global warming, several microcosms in between all of those things, and climate change. The thing that links them all together is none of the fearmongers and prognosticators, none of their predictions have ever even remotely come close to becoming true. And the dirty little secret is that carbon dioxide makes up 0.04% of the entire atmosphere around the globe. And man-made carbon dioxide makes up about 1/100th of the entire atmosphere around the globe. And guess what? Remember I said this, you're not going to die from CO2 emissions. Just remember I said that, and remember that I said this whole thing is a hoax, and we need to put up our hands and say stop.
Right. Yeah. Well, and Dan, this next one that Rep. Niemerg has to repeal CEJA, I know that you've talked about this in the past, the dozens or maybe more than dozens of calls that your office has received about the spiking energy costs. Chris, you've talked about your personal experience with the utility bills triple. CEJA has done nothing except drive our utility rates up, Dan.
Well, that's that I think is the worst part of CEJA for sure. There's other parts of it that just, you know, putting these jobs in disadvantaged communities where people can learn to put up solar panels and get into the industry is, I think, is a failure. And that's, I believe that we have the evidence of the utility bills this year.
Right.
I hope that we come back in the fall and we can start talking about the evidence, you know, what are the outcomes from all of this hundreds of millions of dollars, well, not millions, but there are millions of dollars, not hundreds of millions,
Right.
but millions and millions of dollars that we're allegedly investing in these job training programs to help these disadvantaged communities get involved in the next wave. And I think it's going to be just like our schools. They may have enrolled a lot of people in these jobs programs, but I don't know what's going to come out the other side. And I look forward to over the summer. I think we probably need to do another energy tour, but I think we ought to go up to some of these communities and see where these programs are, see where our money, our tax money is being spent. And let's talk to some of these folks that are going through these programs, and hopefully there's some that are, you know, gainfully employed, but at what cost?
Right. No, that's very, very true. And I guess I just want to remind folks that may be new to watching us what CEJA is. That's the Clean Energy Jobs Act. It was passed in the fall of 2021, and it was loaded up with all kinds of ratepayer subsidies to the nukes in Northern Illinois, and it just prematurely shuts down coal and gas, electrical generation, caps some other outputs, the cogeneration facilities in some of our factories. Really kind of a bad business bill, bad consumer home home electric use. This is just bad overall. I don't know. Any final comments before we go to the next slide, guys?
Well, I think that it's important to know, to just make a note that we enjoy the lifestyle we enjoy because of cheap, affordable, reliable energy. And we have to have base load generation in order, it used to be, it wasn't that long ago till Illinois was a net exporter of energy, and now we are an importer. And the thing to be reminded of as we cover thousands of acres with solar panels is we export soybeans and corn, and we don't export energy. And so we need to get our head on straight and quit this nonsense, because we need to grow more corn, we need to grow more soybeans, we need to grow more wheat to feed a starving and a growing world.
Exactly. Yeah, that's one thing we do not need supply chain issues with is food.
Right.
So, yeah. Hey, guys, so the next big issue is protection for our health rights. The goal here is to support healthcare freedom for families, impose new insurance mandates, and we've sure seen a lot of insurance mandates this spring. Some of them have maybe been okay, and some of them have not been quite so okay. Dan, you've got a bill here, 1137. Do you want to speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, and that is our Patient Bill of Rights. It's a bill that came to me through a couple of constituents, and what we're finding in some of these hospitals is that when an issue crops up, there's a problem, there's a misdiagnosis, things of that nature. The risk managers, not the doctors, but the risk managers will get people's records changed after the fact without telling them. And my bill would mandate that anytime a patient's record is modified, that patient needs to be notified. Mail, email, text message, doesn't matter, but it will at least notify the patient that, hey, your charts, your medical record has been changed. And we're not talking about a billing issue or a renewal of a prescription, but we're talking about something that can happen in today's world, because like in Decatur, you could go to Decatur Memorial Hospital for an issue and be seen there and diagnosed and treatment started, but you'll end up in Springfield at the sister hospital. And if something happens to your records after you've left, you may not ever know that. And it's just a real problem that needs to be addressed. We'll see how it goes. Didn't get a hearing on it this year. I'm not done with it. We'll see what happens here in the next couple of weeks if I can find some support for it. But we're not giving up. It's a big consumer protection bill that really is addressing a problem that needs fixed.
Yeah, well, most definitely. And I wish Representative Davis was here to talk about his bill a little bit, but I think the title pretty well speaks for itself. Boy, the transparency and pricing in the medical world sure leaves a lot to be desired.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, and it is an issue too, because you can go right across the border into Indiana. You can go into the hospital and you can ask them what something costs, and they can tell you immediately, and you can write them a check. Because I know that we used to have a Samaritan for our healthcare, and so it was a cash transaction. And when I would go to my local healthcare provider, they would never know what anything cost. And so, which is amazing to me. And when I would tell them that I wanted to pay, they would look at me like I was nuts. And and the first thing they wanted to do was sign me up for some social program. And I said, no, you don't understand. I said, I want to write you a check for my visit today. I want to pay you and with a check for what services you provided to me. And I was never able to get to accomplish that, where I know they have several friends that doctor over in Terre Haute at Union, and you go in there that are on Samaritan, you write them a check, and you walk out, and you're good, you're golden. And so there's a real need for that. I think another thing that this would be more on a national level that we need to be aware of is they're trying to put us under the dictatorship of the World Health Organization. And I know that Freedom Caucus member Andy Biggs has a bill to prevent them from doing that. And I know one of the things that I think that we need to do is we need to send him a letter in our support for that, because if we allow the World Health Organization to dictate to us what we can do and what we can't do, it will be an abject disaster here in the United States of America, where we are supposed to be free.
Yeah, well, we saw how the World Health Organization over the last 3 years, and how the CDC, how well that worked out for Americans to be kind of ruled by those agencies. And so I'm really happy Congressman is doing what he's doing there.
Mm-hmm. I was trying to find the bill number.
Okay.
I'll find it here in a second. Oh, it's HR 79.
Okay.
That Andy Biggs is carrying that.
Okay. We've got to be careful how we say Congressman Biggs' name. The last time that we had him on the program with us last fall, the big tech overlords didn't seem to care for that very much. So we may get screened here. So if the screen goes blank, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, you know what happened. So anyhow, we got 4 bills here, more healthcare bills, Jed Davis, childcare, vaccine exemption on the coronavirus, and then Niemerg's got 3 really good bills, more religious exemption on the coronavirus vaccine, parental notification, again, I think that speaks for itself, and then partial birth abortion ban makes that a felony murder case. Do you gentlemen know anything about these bills, or are you up to speed on them? I wish the gentleman could be here to talk about them a little bit, but
I don't really know anything other than the title.
Yeah, and the title pretty well speaks for itself, I think.
Unlike Democrat bills, our title usually has something to do with the topic.
Well, and Chris and Dan, we should have mentioned that in the beginning, that as we go through some of these bills, you're right. The title is, they do what they say, unlike the Democrat bills. So here's another big issue: corruption. You know, we see this every day. We're seeing this playing out in the ComEd trial, and it just seems to be part of the fabric in Springfield, is the level of corruption. So we got some bills here. I've got a bill dealing with social media and censoring, and Representative Freeze has kind of got the same thing that would prevent state entities from working with private companies to deny freedom of speech.
Yeah, we've got a real corruption problem, and it's interesting. We watched the rules slide through again this year, and nothing on corruption, nothing on ethics. We've seen no floor debate, no talk. I don't know what committee. There's nothing being heard in a committee, and yet we're watching this trial unfold up in Chicago, where Mike Madigan is intertwined with the CEO of Commonwealth Edison, and some lobbyists and jobs and all the things that we talked about for years. All of the things that are known, we talked about, and the corruption continued. Now the Democrats are awfully quiet, but I think the curtain's been ripped back on how they've run this state, how they manipulated businesses in this state to contribute or face the wrath of Mr. Madigan. I don't know so much about Speaker Welch. I presume he's on board with that process. But yeah, not a word.
Right.
We haven't had one word on the House floor
Right.
about ethics.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Chris, you've got a bill here that any amendments must be related to the original bill. We saw that time and time again when we come with these gut and replace amendments that have nothing to do with the title.
Well, and that's true. I mean, one of the things that the radical left is famous for is completely gutting and replacing bills. And I know that we saw a mad panic by one of our Freedom Caucus brethren, Adam Niemerg, when they totally gutted and replaced an insurance bill with, I can't remember, was that
The anti-gun bill.
yeah, the anti-gun bill, and I know that he was making a mad dash to get his name off of that and clear his good name.
Right.
But they're famous for doing that, and it's so disingenuous to the hardworking, tax-paying citizens of Illinois that would like some transparency and some authenticity, but all the radical left seems to know how to do is to fabricate the truth. And I think that one of the reasons why they do that is because when you tell the truth, you have one option. If you're going to lie to the American people, your options are limitless. But hopefully, obviously, the radical left is not extremely concerned with clarity and transparency in government, because, to the best of my knowledge, this little fine 3625 is sitting in rules most likely to never see the light of day, but it's something that people need to be aware of.
Yeah. The next bill, 1574, Dan, that Niemerg has, limits the powers of government of the governor to one executive order or emergency declaration, I guess, per every 12-month period. What are we up to? Is the governor up to like 40 some emergency declarations in the last 4 years?
That can't be right. That can't be right. I think it's closer to 8,000.
Well,
and we're still there. We are still under the governor's emergency declaration until May. I think May 11th or something and right now the emergency declaration is in place. So we've been told, because there's some financial advantages for Illinois in this COVID money, to continue to be ruled by Governor Pritzker. It makes no sense. That's a great bill. I think, a 30-day emergency order, come back to the General Assembly, and let's sort things out and decide how we want to do it. I mean, why would you not want to do that when you have super majorities in the House and the Senate? You have super majorities. Take 60 people, you have 78 in the House. Do you think that you couldn't get a majority? If you couldn't get a majority of House members to go along with your executive orders or what you want to do, there's something horribly wrong.
Right.
Yeah, exactly right.
And there is something horribly wrong, by the way.
Well, there is, without a doubt. Yeah, there is without a doubt. Well, yeah. And this idea, we're only going to do it because of the government money. And it's almost like, we'll get on the train car for your safety. It's like, oh my, what? Got to pull back the curtain on that one. Hey, Niemerg also has a constitutional amendment that would put into place General Assembly term limits. Many of us have talked about the need for term limits and redistricting reform, but this would be a 12-year term limit. You could serve in either chamber for a total of 24 years, which would got to be loads plenty, but at least it would be, Chris, I'm not sure if anybody can take 24 years, but yet I'm guessing we all know people that are in that 20+ year category, whether they've been in one or both chambers. And
the swamp has become a hot tub.
Say that again.
I said the swamp has become a hot tub.
Yeah. Yeah, we need to move on. So Will Howard's got 3 more bills. I guess I want to just talk about this last one just a little bit. Prohibits tax dollars for Chinese investment. So this is dollars, tax dollars that the state of Illinois has that they invest, right?
Right.
And he is basically calling for the prohibition of the state of Illinois to invest in any Chinese securities or equities. Guys, have we seen anything like this before in the General Assembly? I think we have.
We may have.
Yeah. From time to time, there's stuff like this comes up. At least he got a hearing on this. It's held up on second reading. They've not allowed it to advance. He did get it called one night, and as he began to speak about it, they pulled it from the record. So it's a good bill when they pull Representative Wilhauer's bill from the record as he begins to speak about it.
You're right.
It really hurt his feelings too.
So the next slide, guys, we got to roll here. We're going to be here all evening. So the goal here with the weight to oppose wasteful spending, misuse, overtaxation, trying to tackle the pension crisis head on, oppose any more state or federal bailouts that won't it's just crazy what's going on here. Chris, you've got a bill about bans on TikTok. What's that all about?
Well, it's pretty self-explanatory. They're talking about it at the federal level, the damage that TikTok's doing to the next generation and the bad effects that's having, as well as the security issues that we're having because of Chinese spying, collecting data, and all that thing. So it's pretty easy. It's a Chinese operation, and so it would make perfect sense to, at least on state devices, not to allow that to occur.
Right. And then Dan, we've got a bill here by Niemerg to lower and limit the gas tax. What we've seen 3 years ago, almost 4 years ago, the gas tax doubled. It's indexed to inflation. Probably a good move there.
Yeah, it was a great move. Absolutely, let's just tax more people out of Illinois. I mean, why not? It's just craziness. And the problem, and we need to get with IDOT. I don't think they can spend the money that they're collecting.
Yeah.
There's the manpower to pull this off. Now they've got some big projects, and I know the governor was at one of them here last week. We've got a big overpass project by ADM and Richland and CAT because that rail spur that runs down Brush College or across Brush College Road is it's busy. I mean, they run, trains in and out of ADM. The traffic on that road is massive because of the community college and CAT. It's also, for CAT, moving product up and down Brush College. We've got to do something, especially when you look at the sales tax. Now we're merging the sales tax out of the general revenue fund and into the road fund. Well, when sales tax on $2.50 a gallon gas, 5%, as opposed to sales tax on $4 a gallon, that's a lot of money.
Right.
A lot of money coming into the road fund. And I think that it's really, really worth looking into. We've got to get some tax relief to our citizens. The exodus is just horrendous. People leaving, they can't afford to live here.
Right. And guys, there's probably not a day goes by we don't see somebody on our social media feed that's traveling out of state, and they'll post gas prices in a neighboring state or a state they've traveled to and being dramatically lower than what it was when they left Illinois or as they returned to Illinois. So,
Yeah.
I mean, this is no secret what the difference in gas prices is, and people are paying attention to that stuff, without a doubt. So, hey, Chris, this is another big issue. Niemerg's got a bill to audit the tax funds. It's overwhelming opposition for taxpayer funding, public funding of abortion services. And I'm not sure exactly what Niemerg's bill does entirely, but it looks like a good idea in the title to audit those tax funds. Do you know much about Adam's bill?
No, I don't, but I think it's always an excellent idea to know where your money's going.
Right.
Because I know that we've had performance audits, we've had financial audits on, as far as House resolution is tried to get some clarity and transparency to government, and we've been gaslighted and stonewalled and roadblocked at every time that we've tried to find out information
Right.
about where the money's being spent. It's impossible to know where the waste, fraud, and abuse is if you don't do an audit and know where every penny is going in the state budget. And
Right.
but they don't want to do that because they aren't interested in transparency and for the taxpayers knowing where their money's actually being spent.
Right.
We'd probably go to Springfield and burn the place down if the general public actually knew of all the waste, fraud, and abuse that actually takes place over there on a daily basis.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, Dan, Wilhauer's got a bill that just flat out repeals the estate tax. How important would that be to business people, and even our farmers with the way things are today, with the cost of land going up? I mean, what would this do to business people? How favorable would this be to our employers and folks in the state of Illinois if this was the repeal of the estate tax?
I think it's a big deal. I mean, it's a really big deal. As I recall, Blaine's primary focus on this bill is farmers. The price of land goes up and up, and the exemptions never keep up. With
Right.
with the price of land, and you have farmers that families that are split up, farms get split up,
Mm-hmm.
and then once you start disassembling farmland to pay your taxes, then you don't end up with enough farmland to feed your family.
Right.
It's a very important bill. It's also a signal to the business community, to the entrepreneurs of the world, that Illinois is a place where you can come and build wealth for you and your family and your community. And when you pass on, you're not going to have your life confiscated from you by the tax man. And
Yeah.
I think it's a really important bill. It's very simple.
Yeah.
But again, it's entrepreneur, farm family friendly, and folks, the Democrats don't seem to care about any of those things.
Yeah.
I
Well,
I went to a chamber breakfast this morning in Coles County, and there's probably close to 400 people there. And the common theme, people came up to me, businessman after small business owner came up and asked, why is Illinois continuing to pass laws to make it almost impossible to stay in business in Illinois? And
Yeah.
I just said, I agree with you. I said, I don't understand it other than the fact that none of the radicals on the other side of the aisle have any real life experience in being involved in business or running a small business or trying to make a payroll, that they've worked for the government their whole life and they don't have any empathy for people that are actually staying here in Illinois and trying to make a go of it.
it's almost like we exist for the benefit of government.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think that's their vision. I really do.
Guys, here's, I think, our last slide. This is more about wasteful spending and misuse, overtaxation. Wilhauer's trying to address the pension situation here, eliminating the pension for General Assembly members. I think that, I don't know if you guys have better information than I do, but I think the General Assembly pension fund is funded like at 15, 16, 17%. It's the worst of the 5 state pension funds. And the best one's not very good. It's only about 45% funded, I think. And so, yeah.
Yeah. And I got a flyer from the Chicago Teachers Union. I didn't get a chance to read it Thursday, but I glanced through it, and I know it has to do with their pension funds and how they feel like the state of Illinois has not lived up to its promises, and their pension fund needs help. And And I'm going, no. I mean, that's your, that's your deal.
Right. Right. Yeah, no doubt. And we saw several bills in the last few weeks that was kind of in short called pension sweeteners,
Yeah.
that just compounds this problem.
Yeah.
You're not going there.
Yeah.
Well, guys, with that, let's kind of wrap it up. Here's our websites. I'm actually going to roll across the bottom the websites also for people and kind of remind them to like and share and subscribe and follow all our content. Leave us comments or questions also here, and let us know how we can be helpful to you. But again, there's our Freedom Caucus website and Facebook. And if they feel so inclined, Chris, they can even donate a little bit to the cause to help us keep this effort going forward.
That'd be awesome. What we need is more conservatives and Illinois Freedom Caucus members in the state of Illinois to help us turn the tide.
Exactly. Exactly. Dan, any closing comments, Dan? And we'll go to Chris, and then we'll head on out of here tonight.
Well, real quickly, tomorrow morning, 7:00 at the Decatur Club, our chamber breakfast, our monthly chamber breakfast, if anybody wants to come down and have breakfast tomorrow morning. And then Thursday evening, I think starts around 5:00 over in Monticello, their Lincoln Day dinner. We're going to be honoring, maybe even roasting Senator Chapin Rose. And so we look forward to seeing people there. That's things that are happening in the 88th.
Great. That's going to take a big fire to roast the senator there. No.
Oh boy, bring a fire extinguisher.
Yeah, set him on fire.
I had a really not very nice comment, but I'm just going to keep that.
No.
We'll save that for Thursday night.
Say that for Thursday night. Yeah.
That me and the congresswoman are planning on attending that event.
Oh, good.
Barring the Lord's return or room temperature.
Exactly.
Well,
and to that point, Chris, about things, I was listening to a commentator today, and he talked about Holy Week and how things changed in a matter of a few days as people welcomed Jesus into the city with palm branches, and a few days later, they were calling for his crucifixion, and he was hanging on the cross. I mean, just in a matter of a few days, how quickly the environment changed. So
he was busy making all the right people mad. Just like seems like we follow that narrative too often.
Well, when you come in and you start disrupting the status quo and flipping over tables, it has kind of an impact on people.
Yeah.
All right.
It's an excellent time to be reminded of our Savior, the Lord Jesus Christ, and the sacrifice that he made so that we can be free of the bondage and tyranny of sin.
Right. Well, and hopefully if there's Good Friday services in your area, please plan to attend, and hopefully you're attending regularly anyhow, and not just on Sunday and Christmas. We would encourage regular attendance, however you see fit. But Chris, truer words could not have been spoken. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, unless there's anything else, we're going to close out and say we'll talk to you real soon.